What's going on, guys? It's Anime One back here with another video, and today we're gonna be talking about what if Naruto was neglected and ended up like Obito, part 4. So let's begin the video. Mission successful, Hokage-sama. The team stood right in front of the Hokage. The other instructors sat right next to the Hokage. The most notable was Iruka. The lady came up to them and which had a huge smile on her face. "Oh, thank you so much for catching my sweet little cat." She took the cat Sora away and held her very tightly. Menma was slightly sweat dropped at the scene. No wonder the cat wants to run away, he thought. Diverting his eyes away from them, he focused right on their next mission. God, he was getting tired of this repetitive missions over and over again. "So, Sensei, you have another mission for us. I prefer it to be a higher rank one this time. I believe my team is ready for it," Kakashi said. "Well, there is a C rank mission I can give them," Minato said. "A C rank? Let's get it then, Sensei. I am so sick and tired of painting fences and digging up plants. Let's do some real ninja missions," exclaimed Menma to Kakashi. "No, hold on, Menma. Let's see what the mission is first. Sensei, please go on," he said, asking if Minato could keep reading. "It's simple mission, really, where you have to guard the bridge builder Tazuna back to the land of waves. Let him in," said the Hokage. As he said that, the old man, who was over the age of 60 and smelled of alcohol, entered the room. "This was the team that's going to protect me? They're nothing but little kids. The black hair looks like emo. The boy with red hair makes me want to go blind. And the blonde," he said, looking at Naruto, and got shivers. "He gives me the creeps." After trying to control Menma and Suki because they were trying to kill Tazuna, they went off to get their supplies. But before they left, Minato said something to Naruto. Yes, Hokage-sama." Minato looked at his son with a bit of sadness. "Take care of yourself, Naruto. Listen to your sensei and be safe." Naruto snarled at the man. "You think I'm stupid and weak like all those years ago, huh? I'm still the weak child you pestered away. Newsflash, Minato, but I've outgrown you and that little family love of yours. Is that all?" he said, looking at Minato's saddened face, trying to hold back tears. No, that's it. Good luck." Naruto nodded and left the office, leaving the Hokage to whip in his office alone. After some time, Naruto arrived at the gates and saw two other there alongside Tazuna. They immediately saw Naruto and raised an eyebrow at him, expecting a reason why he was late. "You're late, Naruto," said Menma. Looking at him, he neared the two of them. Naruto nodded, knowing that he was going to be late for the occasion, but it seems like Kakashi wasn't here either way. "God, this will take some time," Naruto thought, looking up into the sky as they waited for the sensei to finally arrive at the destination that they were all at. Naruto wanted to know something, so he asked his so-called brother. "What happened to Sakura exactly?" he asked, looking at Menma. Menma looked at Naruto with a shocked expression on his face. His brother was actually talking to him. He smiled and answered his question. "Kakashi Sensei took your suggestion and took Sakura out of our team and placed her in the medical ninja field. Even though she disagreed after a good lecture from her dad, she accepted." Naruto nodded. Sakura would only get in his way, so it was best for the team that she was kicked out. It took some time, but he finally arrived just a few minutes before an hour was created. "You're even later than Naruto," said Menma, complaining at Kakashi's laziness. "Haha, sorry. I just got lost in the road of life." The three deadpanned except for Naruto. He did not want to waste any time at all. This was his first C-rank mission and he was going out to do an official ninja for Konoha. "Alright, let's get going, my cute little Genins," Kakashi said with a nice smile right on his face as he walked right in front of them and gestured for the rest to follow them. Naruto and Suki, you two guard the front for any potential robbers. Menma and I will guard the back. Tazuna will stay in the middle as we are to guard him as well. Got it? They all nodded to that order. They all got into their position and waited for any potential strikes to be made by surrounding enemies that would want to kill them or Tazuna. Kakashi pulled out of the Ichi Ichi novel that as they were walking. Seriously? Porn in public? Does he have any dignity whatsoever? Naruto thought, as soon diverting away from the book that Kakashi was holding, they all continued to look around, analyzing the environment. Soon enough, Naruto saw something from afar. A puddle, Naruto thought, questioning himself on how there was a puddle. He internally started to think as they slowly walked past the puddle that Naruto had seen just before. It's summer. There's no way that it could have been raining all of a sudden, unless did I miss a raining day? No, I didn't. This isn't merely tribal thinking. Yes, I get it now, Naruto thought, his eyes turning very deadly. Suddenly a person, no, two people from the puddle of water rose up and appeared behind Kakashi. They had gauntlets that had chains attached to them. Chains wrapped up around Kakashi. Everyone looked right towards Kakashi and saw the mess that was about to happen right in front of their own eyes. Got one down, one yelled, pulling their chains right back at them and ripping Kakashi to shreds. Naruto narrowed his eyes, eyeing the bits and pieces that fell into the ground. Suki, get ready to fight them. Menma, protect the Tazuna, even if it costs your life. They all nodded, getting ready for a battle. Naruto felt two of them appear behind him. This one will be easy, yelled one of the other weirdly clothed maniacs. Naruto dug to the ground and dodged the chains that were aimed right behind him. The two kunais from Suki and Menma were to throw right towards their head. Naruto took his time to jump away from them to create a distance from them at all, towards the place that should have been Kakashi's ripped up limbs, but saw nothing. The only saw was a ripped apart log that was laying on the ground, so Kakashi was alive. Naruto looked back at the battle and saw Suki dodge a chain by one of the two alikes. Move Tazuna out of the way, Menma. He jumped into the air and started weaving hand signs. Naruto inhaled. Fire style. Great fireball jutsu. He then exhaled a large fireball that came out of his mouth. The said fireball made its way towards the two enemies. Watch out, move out the way, one of the other yelled. The other nodded and jumped away. Oh no you don't, said Suki, kicking one of them at the back, in front of the flames of the fire without much hesitation. Menma grimaced at the sight, but was right back at taking this very seriously. Gozo! Oh, so the one that was getting crisped by the fireball was named Gozu. Menma, Suki, throw a kunai. He tried yelling at as little as possible, and he managed to succeed in doing so. They nodded and pushed their hands into their holsters and pulled out a kunai. Take this, Menma yelled, throwing her a kunai right towards the last one of the two. Suki did the same and threw hers. Then Naruto nodded and did the same and threw a kunai of his own that he had pulled out from his own holster. Other one just barely managed to dodge by backing away. He widened his eyes, looking back, and saw that he had hit a tree with his back. He then widened his eyes even further and saw Naruto throw a nasty kick that was aimed right for his eyes. The guy dug down and barely managed to dodge a kick from Naruto. Another kunai came flying towards him. It was Menma's kunai. He tilted his head to dodge to the side. Suki then came out and threw a kick at the right side of his neck. Gah! He yelled in pain, feeling the pain from the kick. He gritted his teeth, jumping back to regain his balance. You're done, said Naruto, appearing behind him and stabbing him lightly on the back. He soon was knocked out due to the intense pain. They all heard a clap from behind. "Good job, team," said Kakashi, holding a burnt Gojo in his hand. "You're alive!" exclaimed Menma, getting a nod from Kakashi. "Indeed I am." Kakashi went towards the other one and picked him up without much trouble. These two are Gozu and Miyaizu. They are two low ninjas called the Demon Brothers. Naruto internally cringed at the name. "Wait, if you're alive, why didn't you help your genin?" asked Tazuna, drinking a bowl of sake right after. Kakashi looked around and met eyes with Tazuna. "I was trying to find out who their target was," Kakashi said. "And it was?" Menma asked, wondering if they were the people that the two brothers were after. "The person they were after were you, Tazuna." He suddenly started to sweat, with nervousness plastered all over his face. Tazuna looked around, trying to figure out a way to get him out of the situation. "And don't try to make it seems like it was just mere coincidence," said Kakashi, glaring at the man. Tazuna sighed, knowing that this wasn't going to end well for him either way. If he didn't comply with what Kakashi was saying, he would get left behind and get killed. "Fine, I lied about the mission ranking. I only had enough money to get a C rank mission. My only hope was to get high-level ninjas for help." Kakashi narrowed his one lone eye at the man. "This mission is easily B rank or even above. This is something that only ninjas of my caliber can handle," Kakashi said. Tazuna started to cry. "I'm sorry, okay? My village is completely crippled by Gato, and we cannot afford any mission above C rank." Kakashi sighed. "I get where you're coming from, but you should have told our Hokage that. I'm sure he would have assembled a different team and given it to you. But my cute little genins want to continue this mission. I guess we can," he said, looking at the genins. All three of them nodded. Kakashi sighed. "Very well then, we are continuing this mission," he said. "Naruto, your hand," Kakashi said, pointing towards Naruto's right hand. He raised an eyebrow, looking at his hand. "It was fucking wounded. I absorbed those stains and found that it was reeked with a smell of poison. Your hand injury will be a burden. We will have to go back to the village and get your doctor." Kakashi's eyes narrowed at Naruto. He slightly gritted his teeth, knowing what he had to do. "Then the only way is to stab that wound and let my Senju DNA heal me. I don't want to abandon this mission at all," Naruto thought, raising his gaze at Kakashi. "It's fine, we can keep moving forward," he said. "But Naruto, your hand is poisoned," Menma said. He was getting somewhat worried about his brother because they were getting close now. Naruto sighed, pulling out a kunai from his holster and stabbing it into his wounded hand. "Shit, Naruto, what the hell is wrong with you?" Suki asked, likely freaked out at the sight in front of her. God, Naruto was such a suicidal or something along those lines. "No, Naruto, if you keep losing that much blood, you'll die much quicker than any poison can kill you," Kakashi said, making way towards Naruto. "Stick out your hand," said Kakashi, crouching down and pulling out a rolling bandage. Suki looked closely at Naruto, shaking her head at his antics. "Naruto, sometimes you really don't use your head. You're self-inflicting yourself with pain. Are you a masochist or something?" Naruto shrugged, lightly as Kakashi moved a bandage up his hand. He slowly noticed something. His wound, it's healing at a phenomenal rate, Kakashi thought, leading his thoughts to even more thoughts than the last one that he had just right now. Uzumakis have high regenerative capabilities than the average person, but I don't think their regenerative abilities heal them this quickly. He doesn't have any of the Kyuubi's chakra, so that should not be the factor. Then how is his wound healing so quickly? I'll have to talk to Sensei about this, Kakashi thought. "I say we continue this mission," said Suki, agreeing with Naruto's opinion on the matter. Kakashi sighed, but nodded his head at them all. He gestured for them to follow him. "I guess it's a majority vote now," They all got back into position once more, Naruto and Suki at the front and Kakashi and Menma at the back. Good job. They started moving once again. So we'll continue our mission to the land of waves. The team walked through the dirty dirt ground as they made their way to the land of waves. They were taking their sweet time in making their way to their rightful destination. We're about just in the territory, Tazuna said. They nodded, noticing the slight mist roaming around the area. After a few more minutes of walking, they had finally caught a sight of something from afar. Over there, said Tazuna, pointing at the bottom of the bridge. There was a man there waiting for them to arrive in time. They nodded and went towards the boat. Hello, Tazuna, the man said. Hello to you too. They all got into the boat, slowly rowing down the waters of the wave. This did raise a very large suspicion and had caution looming right over their heads. Why are we going so slow and why are we so quiet? Asked Suki, using a very quiet tone of her own. Tazuna and the man sighed, knowing that this was the time for explanation. This is so we don't get caught. People are after Tazuna for some odd reason. Suki nodded at the explanation that was courtesy of Kakashi himself, but looked at Tazuna. I'll ask this nicely. Why are you being chased after? Who are you being chased by? If you don't answer these two simple questions, I'll end the mission once we reach the shoreline. Tazuna gulped, nodding his head, knowing that this was bound to happen sooner or later. Fine, fine. I'll give you an explanation, said Tazuna, readying himself for this deep and detailed explanation. This man that arrived at our country just over a year ago is responsible for all this shenanigan that is currently happening. Kakashi raised an eyebrow, curiously, about what he was talking about. Who was it? Kakashi asked. His name was Gato, one of the richest businessmen in the entire nations. Kakashi's eyes slightly widened, now learning of this bit of information that Tazuna was talking about. But when we came to our country just a year ago, he took seize and control of everything in the land of waves. It is the economy, people, everything. The reason that the land of waves is a country that is not connected to any other nation and is just an island. They all nodded. Tazuna pointed towards the bridge that was right above them all. They all looked up. But this bridge is what Gato fears. If this bridge is completed, everything that he gained via drugs trafficking, illegal sales, etc. will be wiped out due to the land of waves being connected to other nations. They all were finally getting it now. Suddenly entered a tunnel. Everyone looked at the front, wondering what would possibly be at the end of the said tunnel. Once they got out of the exit, they all saw the mist that was around them before magically be nowhere longer there. Everyone was so vibrant and bright. We're almost there, said Kakashi, getting nods from the others. Suki, Naruto, and Menma got themselves ready just in case they were going to be engaging in another battle. They soon made it back on the land where they actually belong. Alright, this is the stop. Now get off. Naruto could only feel it. The man was scared beyond insanity. They all got off the boat and once again walked on the land. Keep guard, said Kakashi, getting another nod from the four of them. They all walked around Tazuna as they entered a forest of some sorts. They all kept walking on and on. Naruto suddenly heard a bush rustle. Naruto quick reflexes into play. Before anyone could react, Naruto had released the Kuna into the forest and rustling suddenly stopped. Everyone went on alert as he approached the spot and suddenly sagged his shoulder and sighed. It's just a rabbit. Their all sweat dropped as the blonde bent down and picked up his Kuna and apparently took a look at the rabbit. Wait, Naruto said to himself as he looked at the coat. It was pure white, as if for winter. It was right in front of the thrones of summer here. That was much obvious. Why did this bunny rabbit have that color of coat if it lived here? This rabbit was kept in captivity for the sole purpose of the substitution jutsu. Naruto widened his eyes. Kakashi-sensei, everyone get down, the Jonin ordered, and knelt while the others scrambled. A huge sword sliced the hair where the bodies were just a second before embedding itself halfway into a nearby tree. Then in a blur of emotion, a tall figure appeared on the wide hills. He was shirtless, showing off impressive muscles. He wore baggy gray pants and elbow warmers, and his face was covered by bandages. His forehead protector was tied above his forehead with a symbol of the hidden mist village. Well, if it isn't Zabuza of the Mist. Kakashi of the Sharingan, the copy ninja, Zabuza replied. No wonder the demon brothers were defeated. I'm here for the old man. Give him up, and I will let it go. You and I both know I can't do that, Zabuza, Kakashi stated seriously. Protect Tazuna and stay out of this, he ordered his genin, at the same time signaling them to intervene if there was an opening. Then he heard to proceed to raise his headband, revealing his Sharingan. Suki's widened her eyes when she saw Kakashi's Sharingan. She wanted to go and question him about it, but Naruto held her wrist. His look, that said it all. There was no time for worrying, but that was now as their enemy was here. She decided to let it pass, but she was going to find it out later no matter what. The three shinobi leapt near Tazuna, Naruto in front of him, Suki in the right, and Menma on the left. Using your ace in the sleeves so soon, Zabuza mocked. I'm honored. Let me do the same. As he disappeared in a blur, along with the sword, Kakashi found himself immediately followed by Naruto and Suki, who had refined their sensory abilities. Zabuza stood above the water, left arm lifted above his head, right hand forming a ram seal. Hidden mist jutsu. A thick wall of mist surrounded them. It was very heavy and made it impossible to see a bloody thing. Be alert, said Naruto quietly. Zabuza is the master of silent killing technique. You won't even hear him coming. Then Zabuza unleashed his killing intent, and it was harsh and cruel. Overwhelmed the kids. No matter how stoic, Suki was still very inexperienced, and Menma had problems finding his usual confidence under the pressure. Naruto, well, he was still normal. 8 points, spine, lungs, liver, artery, kidneys, hearts. Where should I go? Zabuza's voice rang throughout the entire battlefield. Everyone tensed up at such feeling around them. This feeling, this bloodlust, it was just like that day, Suki thought. Her heart was racing at tremendous rate now. She couldn't control the feeling of such dread. What? She suddenly felt her hand gripped on her shoulder. It was Naruto's. He clenched his hand firmly, gazing at Suki with such intensity. Calm down, Suki. You have us here. It'll be fine. How can Naruto be so calm in such a situation of life or death? He somehow got her to regulate her breathing to a much calmer state. Kakashi saw this whole exchange and was pretty impressed of Naruto's ability to handle Suki's situation. Suki, Menma. They suddenly heard their name being called out by Naruto. He slowly inhaled and exhaled. Naruto pulled out a kunai from his holster. Follow my lead. There is a high chance he will appear in the center of the Manji formation. They nodded. With a hint of fear, both sides. Naruto had whispered this to the point where Zabuza wouldn't be able to hear. You're all dead, said Zabuza, appearing right in the center of the formation. He saw the eyes of Naruto's just before he made his move to kill them all in a single swing. He figured it out where I was going, huh? How? But Zabuza had no time to think. Once more before he suddenly saw Kakashi intervene by stabbing a kunai right at his lungs. Before everyone stood back from the fight between the two high-level ninjas that existed in the elemental nations, they felt the cold and silent air loom around them all. But this fight was far from over. Water dripped from Zabuza's stab instead of the expected blood that would spill out. It was a simple water clone that was used as an act of diversion. Behind you, Zabuza was right behind him and swung his blade, cleaning through Kakashi's entire body. But it was soon found out to be Kakashi was also a water clone. His eyes widened. That copycat. He saw right through everything with such precision. A kunai was focused at the front of his neck. You're finished. Give up immediately, Kakashi said in a serious tone right along with it. There was a moment of silence. Kakashi of the Sharingan, you're good, but... Another Zabuza appeared right behind him. Kakashi widened his eyes, seeing the one in front of him suddenly turn into water. Not that good. Zabuza swung his blade and aimed it to slice Kakashi in half. Down, dodging the potential fatal blow that was coming from Zabuza. Kakashi was about to attack but was suddenly thrown away by Zabuza's foot. He landed on the water. The water engulfed his entire body. Kakashi tried to get up. This water, it's too heavy, Kakashi thought, suddenly widening his eyes as Zabuza appeared right behind him. You are a fool, Hatake. Kakashi started to weave a multitude of hand seals. Water style, water prison jutsu, Zabuza said. Kakashi was now floating, encased inside a floating orb of water. He slightly grated his teeth, knowing he was trapped. He couldn't move at all. Kakashi looked at everyone. Guys, get out. You don't get away from here. There's no time, Kakashi yelled towards them. Zabuza created another water clone right next to him. The set clone then launched itself right in front of the other four. The water clone of Zabuza gazed at them with such intensity. Naruto thought about the situation he was in. I can use my Mangekyo and the original and the clone, but it will cause a problem. And if I activate my Sharingan, that will also be a problem. The choice is... Naruto looked at Suki. Menma, protect the client. Suki, you're with me. What should we do? Naruto unrolled the scroll and slapped his hands onto a seal. A puff of smoke revealed a Fuma Shuriken. Naruto folded. Naruto rolled and scrolled back and slung it. All of this happened within seconds. He handed the folded shuriken to Suki, who glared at him. A simple Fuma Shuriken won't work, Naruto. Naruto thrust into his hands anyway, an impatient look on his face, and said, just follow my lead. As soon as Suki held it, a look of realization came onto her face and she looked at Naruto with wide eyes, who smirked. A predatory smirk of her own appeared as she followed Naruto's plan. Zabuza had just finished off the clones when he spotted the Uchiha holding a Fuma Shuriken and running at him. The brats leapt impressively high and threw it at him. Zabuza was not impressed. He simply plucked the shuriken from the air as if catching a frozen bee. Is that all you've got, brats? Suddenly another shuriken appeared in the shadow of the first. Zabuza scoffed angrily. You're underestimating me, brats. Still not good enough. He leapt over the shuriken, his other hand still remaining in the water prison. Got him, Suki muttered, with a smirk as Naruto beside her disappeared into a smoke. Zabuza's eyes widened as he heard a puff of smoke right behind him. Seeing the second Fuma Shuriken turning into Naruto, went through hand signs. Fire style, firebomb blast. A huge swirl of fire went towards Zabuza, whose eyes widened. Zabuza cursed mentally. I can't dodge that unless he released his hold on the water prison, jumping to the side. Zabuza rushed at Naruto with his sword, aiming to slice the boy in half, but Naruto had his eyes closed and his EMS activated. As the sword phased right through him, which made Zabuza's eyes nearly fall out of their sockets. As soon as the sword completely phased right through Naruto, he deactivated his EMS and kicked Zabuza in the stomach, which sent him flying. Zabuza got up as he looked at Naruto. What the hell? My attack just phased right through him, as if he was an illusion. But for now, that kid won't interfere anymore, he thought. Kakashi and Zabuza were now facing each other. Kakashi panted. Due to him utterly tired from uses of the Sharingan, their eyes locked and gave each other an intense stare down. Those brats managed to distract me, said Zabuza. Don't kid yourself. You were forced to let go. Zabuza snarled, jumping away, and Kakashi doing the same move like him. They were now fighting on top of water. Zabuza started to weave through multiple amounts of hand signs, and Kakashi did the same. Water style, water dragon bullet jutsu. The two dragons that were made out of water simultaneously rose up from the water that the two were currently standing right on top of the current moment, widening their eyes at the side in front of them. This was truly a magnificent battle to see. Zabuza and Kakashi clashed with their own respective weapons. Kakashi had a simple but trustworthy kunai. Zabuza had a blade that was created both to butcher them all. Something is not right, Zabuza thought, trying to battle for dominance in the battle that could only potentially lead one of their deaths while this was happening. Or the two could just simply and magically die right there and right now. This was a battle between two high-level Jonin ninjas who were highly dangerous in battle. Our jutsu, our casting happened at the simultaneous rate. Could this guy possibly be able to? Two stopped clashing and jumped away once again. The raining water from the water dragon stopped. Flooding of the water also stopped due to the subside of the water dragons fighting each other. There was a moment of silence. As soon as Zabuza moved his right arm, Kakashi did the same. But he didn't just copy after Zabuza had done it. No, it was something more bizarre than that. He's doing it at the same rate of speed. How is that even possible? Tazuna questioned. Naruto narrowed his eyes at the sight. He knew what Kakashi was exactly doing. He was using a genjutsu. Seems like he was using a genjutsu at quite good of use of it. What the hell? It's like he knows I'm about to. He was cut right off. You next? Zabuza widened his eyes even further. His eyes were practically bulging out of their own sockets. This was unbelievably weird. And weird to the extent that was even not funny. Looks at me with that eye. Infuriating, I think it is. Zabuza gritted his teeth, at which such anger that was being directed towards Kakashi Hatake himself. You're just copying me, damn monkey. Zabuza shouted lightly, angered at this shitty copycat knowing what he was doing. You can't beat me, I'll kill you. Zabuza's eyes widened as they said this at a simultaneous speed. What? There was absolutely no way this was happening at all. Could he really? Zabuza started to weave through a multiple of hand signs. Kakashi was also doing it at the same time, but something was quite wrong. Kakashi managed to finish the jutsu before he could. What? What a release. Giant Vortex Jutsu. The water rose up a few meters into the air. Zabuza widened his eyes, being engulfed by the large stream of water right in front of him. He was now being swirled and stirred around like a person cooking in a steam stew. I can't keep up, Zabuza thought, soon being taken and hitting a tree. Water dripped down his body as he saw Kakashi walk upright in front of him as he was leaning on the tree. He was tired, absolutely tired at that. Tell me, can you look into the future? Yes, and your future is death. Kakashi had a kunai at being held tightly in between his own very fingertips. He motioned his arm and hand to put Zabuza out of his misery. But suddenly, two Senmon needles from afar made itself known to the world and impaled Zabuza's neck with such speed and absolute brutality. They widened their eyes as a person jumped down and from a tree that was close to the area and landed right next to the ground that Zabuza landed on. And you are right, he's dead now. That mask, Kakashi thought, eyeing the masked person that appeared right in front of them. He narrowed his eyes at the person, analyzing what they were doing. You are a hunter ninja. The hunter ninja looked right towards Kakashi and nodded their head. It seems like Kakashi was correct in the statement that he just made. Correct, I'm a hunter ninja that has been trying to find and take down Zabuza Momochi for quite some time now. Kakashi slowly and just slightly nodded at those words. Thank you for assisting in my mission. Unintentionally, I'll be taking away Zabuza to dispose of him. Kakashi nodded, seeing the hunter slowly pick up Zabuza and disappear with him. This person should be around their age, just by hearing and seeing their voice and height. Kakashi thought, looking back at Naruto and the others. They went closer to him. It seems we are done with fighting. Good job, everyone. They all nodded. It was now time for all of them to continue the mission. Just a few seconds after they started walking, Kakashi crashed right onto the damp ground. Sensei, they all yelled. So guys, this is it for What If Naruto Was Neglected and Ended Up Like Obito part 4. The next part will be dropping in a few days and maximum in 2 days. So I hope you guys will enjoy it, and if you did like this video, please like and subscribe to the channel. It really helps. So see you guys in the next video. Peace.